Aaron and Dave, and on the line, Aaron, from Knoxville, Tennessee, it's Sassy Pants himself.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
It's the live studio audience for you there, brother.
Sassano, is that Italian?
Yes, it is actually an
Okay.
Italian name, and I don't know where Sassy Pants came from, but Sassano is definitely an Italian name. I guess it means strength or whatever. That's something that I just recently discovered, and it's kind of along the narrative of my life, man, just displaying that strength and everything. But yeah, man.
So out there in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we kind of, Aaron and I both kind of found you at the same time in different ways. I was on Facebook, and I ran across a Facebook page for Faith, right?
Elizabeth. Yes.
Elizabeth Faith. Is Faith in the name?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm really bad with names, but I said, Aaron, you gotta check this woman out. And then he's like, oh, I've been listening to Matt, and kind of all at the same time.
It's been kind of cool. It's been kind of a cool little thing because she, like I said, we've been friends for a year or so now, and she also does her own music project called Azariah and stuff. And I guess we just run common paths. So listeners of me listen to her, and it's been a really cool thing. This is kind of on the record. She's my girlfriend now. So we've been dating for the last 3 weeks. We go way back.
Oh, wow.
So,
they're newlyweds, Aaron.
Yeah.
So you were on tour with 7 Day Slumber.
Absolutely, man.
We've seen
how was the tour?
Yeah, how was that?
Oh man, it was, like I said, it was a dream come true, because since I was 17 years old in my little town of Canisteo, New York, I'm originally from upstate New York, moved to Knoxville in 2014. But I've been a music fan for as long as I can remember, and I remember they had this thing back in the day called TVU and Radio U, back when Sky Angel, ran a lot of rock and roll programming. And so I'd be sitting there when I was 17 years old and just watching 7 Day Slumber videos, just hoping and dreaming that someday I'd be on a tour with really Christian rock legends like that. And so to see that years and years later, when I came from such a small town with really like no hope of that happening, was just an amazing experience. Joe heard my story. I'd been affiliated with the rock scene for quite a while. I do interviews for this thing called Rock on Purpose. So a lot of people have, aside from my music, know me from my interviewing. And when Joe and I, kind of started talking and everything, he heard my story and he was like, hey man, let's just bring you along. And I was just dumbfounded by it. And we started off in Westville, Oklahoma, and the tour ended. The first leg of the tour ended in Cookeville, Tennessee, close to home. So we've just been all over the place, man. And we've seen some crazy things, man, from lives being changed. The whole theme of the tour is called the Hope and Recovery Tour. And so we've talked to a lot of people that are recovering from like drug issues and recovering from, I talked to a Army vet who was struggling. He got hurt in the line of duty and he couldn't hold down a job. And so he was talking to me about his depression. And so there's been a lot of great things happening on the tour. And aside from that, like one of the standout nights is like on the tour, it was crazy because everybody wanted me to sign everything from their foreheads to their shoes, man. We've just had a really good blast out there, man, and really touching lives in a lot of ways and just having a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, you just came off of that tour like literally days ago, right?
Yeah. We the tour ended, I want to say, December we go back. So we're right now currently on like kind of a Thanksgiving break. And I've just been catching up on, Disney Plus and watching Hulu, trying to squeeze in a little bit of productivity in there somewhere. But we've been I've been catching up on a lot of, you know, movies and hanging out. And then we go back out in December. And the first date, I think, is in Tennessee. We're doing some prison stuff. So like stuff for prisons. And
Oh, wow.
trying
That's
to,
great.
yeah. So it's really cool. Cause I know with Joe's background and everything, he kind of, like specializes in prison ministry. So it's going to be great. My story is kind of more along the lines of suffering with disabilities and being bullied for my life, and that's kind of where my song "Not My Name" came from. It's just, you know, my life was heavily about being labeled and struggling with disabilities. I have cerebral palsy, and I also have another disability called dyscalculia, and so my life from the get-go, the odds were kind of against me.
So how does that work into you writing music and performing music? I mean, is there a hindrance there? Is there any obstacle you have to overcome?
Well, reluctantly, writing music is like the only thing I'm good at. So, I mean, that is the one thing that really kind of stuck. I mean, there's been hindrances in my daily life. Even now, I'm fairly dependent on family. Like I can't drive. I can't run a register, like a cash register. Like dyscalculia infringes upon a lot of just different things. It's like a spatial disability where it's like I can't, you know, I get lost easily. So I wasn't diagnosed with it till up until I was 19. And throughout school, I just be getting lost. I couldn't pass a math test to save my life. So there was a lot of educational problems, and I spent my life in like special ed classes and going through that kind of a system where it just kind of was increasingly hopeless for a lot of kids. And you know, the odds of me doing this are amazing because of all the things that I can't do. You know, God's really blessed this opportunity, and I'm here now. So it's crazy, man, because you grow up kind of just being labeled. People diminish you when you have a disability. They expect less of your life. I've been in like these disability meetings where, you know, it's the most depressing thing you'll ever experience, where you're in a room and they're talking about what you're going to do, and you know, you're having to kind of be faced with all your limitations. And I'm like, you know, and now I'm here, you know, with 7-Day Slumber doing my thing, but coming up, I'm like, man, I'm going to be a musician, and that is crazy for anyone. So like,
Right.
you know, growing up with disabilities and being looked at as this kid that's like just like a dreamer, and you know, and yeah, he might do something, but it's not going to be that. Like, that's kind of how yeah. I mean, one time I was in school and I told this teacher that I was going to be a musician, and this is before I even picked up an instrument, and she just kind of was like, yeah, we can all dream, honey. So I've been she just kind of laughed at me. So I've been, you know, like I said, diminished and labeled my whole life, and just to be here, I'm very grateful that God's opened this opportunity, because the chances of this for anyone is
Yeah.
pretty.
You know, I got to throw in, I get lost all the time. I mean, it's
Oh,
legend.
man.
It's legend and folklore of all the times I get lost.
Oh man,
Those are stories for another day, but yeah. Well, you know, I'll tell you a quick one. I was up in Oregon with a friend of mine, and I was working in San Francisco at the time. So living in Sacramento, I would always get on the 101 North to head home. And so we were up in Eugene, Oregon, and we wanted to head home. And I started heading north. And my friend said, hey, the GPS says we should be going the other way. And I went, that thing's screwed up. It doesn't know what it's talking about. I always go north to go home. And we drove for like another hour north.
Oh my gosh, man.
Until my friend said, hey, shouldn't the ocean be on the other side of the car?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, dude, for me, directions have been so crazy, and like I said, I just get lost everywhere I go. And the funny thing was, on the first date of the tour, I was traveling with Faith, that you know, and she actually, knowing that I was kind of directionally challenged, decided to pull a prank on me. And I just kind of was, you know, zoned into the road trip. She's driving because I can't drive. And like we pull over, and she's like, oh no, we're 5 hours away from our destination. The show was like in a half hour. I was like, are you kidding me? She's like,
you
no.
like sweating?
So, yeah, she got me good. She doesn't think that I'll get her back, but there is vengeance coming her way. Had me in a heart attack, man.
Well, speaking of funny, how did you come up with Matthew Sassy Pants as your Facebook page? How did that all come out?
So this is the origin story of that tale. When I was like just, doing music in the local scene, I had a band page and then I had my personal page, right? And so you'd get to these like clubs or venues or whatever it is, and the venue owners would expect you to promote their events. And so I would do most of the promoting on my band page, which was Matt Sassano at the time. And then I had my personal page at the time, which was Matt Sassano. So the band booker was getting all angry and up in arms. He's like, man, we've got this event coming up and I haven't seen you do any posting about this event. And so what ended up happening was I was like, dude, you're looking on the wrong page. You got to look at my band page. So to separate the two, I just kind of threw it out there on a status. I was like, what should I call my regular page in order to separate the band page from my regular page? And somebody pitched Sassy Pants, Matthew Sassy Pants. And I was going to change it after 90 days. You get that 90-day window, but everybody kind of got a kick out of it and it was too late. So now I have officially been dubbed Matthew Sassy Pants. And now my fan base, the people that listen to me are now known as the Sassy Pantsers, because that's just that's just how it went, man. I was like, all right. And everywhere I go, like, it's almost like a secret alias. They're like, dude, are you Matthew Sassy Pants? I'm like, that's me. I'm also Matt Sassano, the musician. So yeah.
well, it's like Skillet panheads, I guess. You got these sassy panners out there. Speaking of Skillet, you did a cover of Monster.
Absolutely, man.
And it was nominated for a Grizzly Award and everything. Why'd you choose that song to cover?
Oh man, from the time I can remember, Skillet has been a huge, huge influence on me, and I just love that particular, song, because it was one of those songs. Monster, being kind of an underground panhead for years, that album was the one that got them the hugest recognition. And it was cool to see from somebody who had listened to Skillet since like 1996 when they came out, to now, to see them kind of ascend through the ranks into, and John's ministry now extends from the Christian market into the secular market. They're doing huge things. So I just wanted to kind of pay tribute and do something different with the song that kind of had my style but wouldn't disappoint any of the panheads. So I was like, I wonder if we could do kind of a gritty, rocky EDM version of this song and not make anybody mad. But yeah, from the time I was, coming up, I mean, I think it was that I was at a Skillet concert in like, I want to say 2008. And I turned to my mom after seeing Skillet on stage. And I was like, I really want to pursue music and everything. And that was kind of the thing that I've always wanted to, but the seeing them and how amazing their show was, and just how enthusiastic the panheads were, just got me thinking like, I want to do this for my life's career. And it kind of started that trajectory in a serious way. Like I've always dabbled, and I've always, like, even before I played an instrument or sang a note, I've always said like, I want to do music. But seeing Skillet live for the first time was just like, all right, let's start putting the groundwork in, you know what I mean? And from there, I've just been project to project. And for the last 3 years, been doing this solo thing, and it's been amazing. Skillet was a huge influence.
They're definitely a great live band.
Oh,
they're great to see live.
His energy, John's energy is tremendous.
Yeah. All of them, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. And it's just been awesome. Like, I mean, I've gone to see him maybe about 3 times, and yeah, they never disappoint, man. It's like there's little like any band, like there's rare bands that can match the energy and the theatrics and just the, like I said, when John hits you with his message, you're ready for it because you've been riled up the whole time. You know, we've all been to those concerts that, you know, you might catch a good one, you might catch a bad one, but John and Skillet just routinely never disappoint. And so I was pumped about it because I'd been a fan for a long time, but you know how sometimes you'll listen to a band and kind of take a break for a few years and come back. Well, we were at like a Kingdom Bound festival in 2008, and my friend was like, let's go check out Skillet. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I thought it would be good, but I didn't know it was going to be insanely good. Like it blew my mind.
Yeah, see, now I got turned on to Skillet when I was living in Colorado back in like, I don't know, 2012, something like that. And I thought they were okay. I was listening to them on the radio. I thought they were okay. Yeah. And but there's a big rock festival they do out here in Sacramento called Aftershock. And they were on this rock festival, and I'd never seen them. And I mean, I knew of them. I didn't really know their music, but I went, I'm going to go check out Skillet. And I was hooked. Totally hooked. Yeah. And I mean, that was a 45-minute set, 40-minute set on a huge rock festival. And I don't know, I've probably seen them 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, man. It was like, I don't know. I like their music from way back in the day, but when they started kind of reinventing their sound and doing different things, that's when it really started hooking me along the lines of, or along the era of like the Clyde era. Yeah. So like, you know, and it's been cool because I mentioned I did rock interviews off the air with artists and things, and I actually got the chance, I think it was last year, to interview Lori Peters, who was the drummer during the Clyde era of Skillet. Oh, really? So that was really, yeah, we got to chat and kind of catch up. And she's really, really down to earth and cool. And she actually also did a collab with, you know, Faith Azariah. She did the drum track on Faith's song Warriors. Oh, wow. So she's kind of a friend of ours, you know.
That's cool. Yeah, that is cool. You know, yeah, they're just one of those solid bands. Now, you were mentioning the EDM kind of side of Monster that you did, you know, the take you did on their song. And that was always one of the things that kind of disappointed me about Skillet, was just about the time they would get into something really cool techno, they'd turn it off.
Yeah, turn it off. Man.
It's like, oh no, take it further.
They kind of, you know, they kind of weren't afraid to experiment. And that's the thing I love about, you know, bands, man. Like when you look at Skillet, when you look at Linkin Park, they were, you know, they were never afraid to evolve with time. And I've kind of gotten to that point. Like I started out in these underground rock projects with like 5-piece bands, and it was kind of along the lines of like, you know, Breaking Benjamin and Skillet. But like since I've gone solo, I linked up with a producer named Colton Carnley from Knoxville here, and his thing was like EDM and very, very electronic, and my thing was rock. So when we combined our sounds, we kind of came up with something that was a little different. And then now recording with Josiah, it's kind of going back a little bit more toward the rock. So there's just a huge eclectic mix of music, and a lot of the stuff that I was doing as a solo artist was just throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck. Like, let's try a EDM song, let's try a rock song, let's try a pop song, let's try a, you know, electronic song that rock fans won't hate. So it was just like a bunch of different things. And now it feels like I'm getting closer and closer to the sound that I want to be. And Josiah has been a huge influence on that end. So nice. I love bands that are just willing to experiment and try new things and never get stale. I mean, when you look at Linkin Park from the beginning, they were heavy, and their last album was like kind of more pop. So I like the eclectic nature of, you know, bands like Skillet and Linkin Park that just kind of never get stale.
All right. Well, I wanted to play some music here. What do you got lined up, Aaron?
Oh, his new single, Not My Name.
Not My Name. All right. So we're going to do Not My Name, and we'll come back and we'll talk with Sassy Pants here on the Rock Salt Musicast Experience.